Hi and welcome back on this new video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you can get a notification whenever I upload a new content. You know, in this video, I'm going to talk about EDA, right? Exploratory data analytics, and using R, right? Using R programming. So the data I'm going to use here is a data set on the effectiveness of math placement exam, right? So before I jump into it, let's go over the data. You can have a quick look of the data. The data is actually on my desktop. So when you have a data on a given location using R, if you want to use like a read CSV, I mean whether it's a CSV file or Excel file, you want to read the files directly. That's the name of the data set here. The first thing you need to do is to set the working directory. If you don't want to like track down on the directory of your data, like, okay, so I can quickly look into my working directory here. So by typing here and get, okay, working directory WD, right? And with that I can run this code, and then it's gonna give me my working directory, say users and so on, time series, blah blah blah. That's the working directory that I'm at right now. But the data that I'm about to use is not in this directory, right? It's on my desktop. So the first thing you need to do, what you want to do here, is to go to section, right? And you look at set working directory, right? So let's look at choose a directory. Now I'm saying that my file that I'm going to use is here on my desktop. Here's the file that I'm going to use. This is like math placement. You can clearly see the file here, right? Math placement. So it's right here. That's the CSV file I'm going to use, and then you open it. So that's the working directory I'm about to use here, desktop. So when you set your working directory here to desktop, you can just read CSV file, and then it's going to read it right away, right? So let's just run these few lines of code. You see, say error read CSV the code no find. So maybe it doesn't recognize this. Let's rerun this and see what's going. Oh yeah, the code that I just wiped out. Let me get it back here. Okay, cool. Now let me get my working directory one more time and see what I have. You see, so the working directory is been set up to desktop, but earlier when I run this code, get working directory, I have something like, how about document analytics 565 time series, right? But right now I changed the working directory, by running this code. I went to session and then choose a working directory, and then I changed my working directory, so we have something completely different, right? Let me wipe this out. So when we run this line of code right here, let's run this code. Now we can view the data set, right? We can view the data set. So here is the data set, actually, the CSV file that I'm talking about. That's the content here. You have the student ID, the gender, the PSATM, the SATM, okay, the ACTM, the rank, the size, and so on. So that's that's how the data set looks like, right? You have everything here with the content, the cost, the low, the high, the grade, and so on. It's too huge, right? So you can view it, right? Let's go back here. What we can do with this data, we can look at the summary of the data set, actually. So we can look at the summary, we can look at the structure. There are a lot of stuff that you can do when you are using R. We can look at the summary. Now we gave a name to this data set, which is math placement, right? So when you call summary, math placement, so here it is, and then we run this line of code. Here's the summary of the data set, and clearly you can see, right, we have before we even get to the summary, let me look at the structure of the data set. str, it's called structure, okay, math placement, right? Let's first of all look at the structure before we go to the summary, because the structure is going to tell us how many like rows, columns, how many variables we have, right? So here you can clearly see that we have 16, 106 actually on 0 point here with 16 variable. So we have 16 variable, meaning 16 columns, right? And then we have 106 observation, right? And these are the variable here, right? We have student, gender, PSATM, SCTM, ACTM, the rank, the size, and so on. Too high, too low, and so on. Cause, success. That's the data set here, and clearly you can see The structure of the data set, the student is a column double here, and so on. You have all these different kinds. This is how each of these data look, right? The student, you can clearly see, is a number, is like an ID, right? 625, 628, and so on. When you look at the gender, you have, male and female, right? 0 is male, 1 is female, and so on. You have the score here, okay? SAT, SATM, and so on. You have different score, various score, and so on. What else? So now, yeah, so over here now we can go back to the summary and have a look at the summary data set, right? So we have the student here, we have the gender, and so on. So here clearly this is student ID. There is no real information, to derive from it, but you can see that the student ID changes. I mean, is a numeric value which changes from 6 to 648 actually. So the lowest ID number here is 6, and the highest ID number is 648, right? And then the gender is only 2, right? 0 and 1. So the minimum is 0, the maximum is 1. And then the score, the minimum score for SAT here is 43, and the highest score is 80, and so on. The rank, obviously the rank starts from 1, right? When you occupy the first rank, the second, the third, and so on, up to 254, right? What else? So yeah, these are the statistics anyway. And then you have the grade, and 106, and definitely we have 106 variable anyway. So yeah. What else? So we can also look at other statistical summary, like we can use another library here, right? To look at the descriptive statistics. I use summary. The summary is helps you get the descriptive statistic, right? The minimum, the maximum, the first quartile, the third, or the median, the mean, the maximum, the minimum. You have all of this information, right? For a continuous variable, of course, when the variable is categorical, you only have the length. It tells you there is a character, and then it gives you the length, like this one, for example, like the grade, it tells you that the length is 106 and is a character. You cannot have something more than that. Now, when you want to have much more detail, like say, the various characteristic of the variable, we have to like convert it to character, right? And then when we do that, we convert it to a character variable, then we can have a clear details of the content of the variable. Like when you look at the grade, okay, we have A, B, A plus, B plus. When you look at the grade in the summary statistic, you don't see that over here. Where's the grade? Let me see it over here. The grade, it just said the length is 106, but you do not see anything that says A, B. It doesn't give like a breakdown of grade statistics, right? It doesn't. Now we can just look at table, right? We can look at table, right? Table, and then we look at mark placement, right? $sign here. We look at the grades, so it's going to give us a breakdown, and that's the breakdown here, right? So when you look at this table, you see that the 31 student got A, right? 17 have A plus, A minus, 2 have A plus, 24 have B, and then so on. So that's how you can have a breakdown of this categorical variable. But when you look at the summary, you don't have that, right? What else can we grab here when it comes to like descriptive stuff? I mean, exploratory data analytics, because we are exploring the data anyway. This is just an exploratory data analytics. Yeah, I was saying, when you want to look at the descriptive statistic, there is another package in R that you can use. Okay, is the package is the psych package, right? So we can, I'm not sure I have the psych uploaded. If I do, then we can just use the psych package to look at the description of the data sets, descriptive statistics. Let me look at the library psych and see if it's installed. Yeah, it is. So it's right here, psych PSYCH, right? That's the library. We run the library. With this library set, we can look at descriptive, right? There is this function called describe. So when you look at the describe, it's going to give us a descriptive statistic of the data set, right? Mark placement, it's right here. Cool, let's run this, and that's the descriptive statistic. You see, this is much more informative. It's much more organized, than the one that we had earlier here, right? So you see here you have all these 16 variable here, right? um can make it bigger. um Sorry, let me make it bigger here. Yeah, so these are the variable here, right? Student, gender, the SAT, whatever. You have everything here, right? And you have all this detail as regard you have all these details as regard as regard the you have all the details here, right? As regard the descriptive statistics, right? So we have everything in here. See, we have the vars. These are the variable, right? Which tells you, okay, we have 16 variables. So starting from first variable, second, third, up to 16, right? How many observations do we have? 106, 106. So overall is 106. And then you have the mean here. For each of them, you have the mean, the standard deviation. You have it here, the median, the trim, minimum, maximum, the range, the skewness, the kurtosis, the standard error. So you have all of that here, right? It's very interesting package actually, that you can use in psych. So whenever you are dealing with whenever you are dealing with R, this is a very interesting package that you can use, to have a breakdown of your data set. It's a very interesting package. I always use it. You should use it as well. Okay, it's a very interesting package to use. What else? Yeah, I think I will stop it here. I don't want this video to be longer. I will continue. I will create a part two of this exploratory data analytics. We will explore further, this data set. And when it's too long, it's boring, and then you don't want to go through at the end, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we can explore here, but I don't want to make a very long video. It's not going to be interesting, so I'll cut it off here, make it like 10 minutes video, and then make a part two of the exploratory data analytics, so we can go through all the statistical measure. So thank you for watching, and see you on part two of this video.